This is Spotlight, a biographical series that features people who've attained significant success in their chosen fields. Our guest today is thespian, singer, and talent search Judge Ian Mbugua, or simply Judge Ian, as he's popularly known. Ian Mbugua, thank you for coming on Spotlight. And let me begin by saying that the name Ian Mbugua is fairly familiar. Ian Mbugua, the judge, Ian Mbugua, the thespian, Ian Mbugua, the singer. We'll talk about all that and more, but let's go back a little. And let me ask this question. Where was Ian Mbugua born, and what does he remember about his early childhood?
Ian Mbugua was born in Thika a while ago. I remember a happy childhood, very full of laughter, full of mischief. Yes.
Full of laughter, full of mischief. Doing the usual boy stuff.
Kabisa. Yes.
You know, playing with the same African toys that we played
that
with.
we made and
that
played.
we made and played with.
Yes.
You know, Ian,
Yes,
interesting.
yes.
I had Barack Muluka here, and he spoke about pretty much the same thing about his early childhood, about how they made playthings themselves. They were not bought from the shops, and how then there were no school buses, so he found his way to and from school, and well, that's pretty interesting. And let's talk about any siblings, your brothers, sisters.
Okay, I'm third born. We're a family of 4 children, and only 2 of us are left.
Only 2 of you are
Yes.
left.
Yes.
Okay.
My older sister, my older brother, my father, and my mother have passed away.
All right. All right. We know you're a thespian and a singer. How did this come about? Was this something that you deliberately set out to do, or is this something that you just stumbled upon?
Well, I've always enjoyed entertaining people, and I've always loved singing. I've always loved music. So I've been singing. I was singing from a long time ago. School choirs and church choirs. I still sing in the church choir till today. So music and theater and arts have always been something I've been passionate about.
Let's talk about performing arts, acting. When did the bug bite? Would you recall?
The usual school drama festivals, school plays, and just something like that I found the audience was receptive, so and I enjoyed it. The thrill of doing something and keeping an audience captivated, and then the comments that you get at the end, it's very gratifying, and it's something I've continued doing.
You know, singing in church is not something that you mention to an average Kenyan and sounds unusual. I mean, there are a good number of Kenyans who do that.
Absolutely.
Sing in church.
Absolutely.
But then things like performing arts and that kind of thing, would you trace that to your early environment? Did it have anything to do with that?
At that time, the primary schools I went to were very strong on the arts. The verse speaking, the debate, the choirs. And I was good at that because I represented my school in many of those. And so it's something that I just continued doing.
So while in school, this is something that you just found yourself not naturally walking up to.
Yes.
Or, performing arts, singing, and
and
acting.
I can say I'm a natural when it comes to singing and acting and entertaining.
Right. You mentioned schools there. Can we get names of the schools?
Oh well, I've been to I think I've been to 6 or 7 primary schools.
Right.
Because I started here, then my father was a diplomat, so he was sent to various countries, and of course you hop when he's posted to a different country, you go and you we accompanied him. So went to several schools.
Among
and
these
then came back. Schools in Germany, schools in England, and then back here. So it was here, and then England, then Germany, then back here.
Right. So do you speak any of English? We're not going to ask because that's what we
I have no word in English.
What about German?
German? Oh gosh, very little now. You don't use it, you lose it. Yes.
So would you say singing and acting are like what? Two sides of the same coin?
Well,
does one lead to the other?
Not necessary.
Right.
Not necessary. You've got actors who can't sing, and you've got singers who can't act.
Right.
But I'm fortunate enough to be able to do both of them.
Right.
Yes. And there are people who... There was a time when people were wondered, is this a singer who acts or is this an actor who sings?
Right. Earlier on, you mentioned still singing in the church choir. And I remember many years back attending a church service at St. Andrews, and while walking out, seeing someone who then I remembered looked like you, although I didn't know you from before, but after reading about you and all that, then it occurred to me that you are the guy I had singing in the church choir at St. Andrews.
Yes,
is that what we're talking about?
And I'm still wearing the same gown you saw me that, even if it was 10 years ago. Yes,
right.
I'm still in the church choir.
Right. You've been doing this for quite a while, particularly performing arts, acting, and what's the story? Now here we're talking about the Kenyan theatre scene. What is your story?
I enjoy doing what I do. I find it therapeutic, and I find a lot of fun in it. I find a lot of joy in it, and it is something I really enjoy doing. Whether I'm being paid to do it or not, I enjoy it, and so I do it.
What would you tell those among us who find it a little frightful to walk up a stage and perform in front of an audience?
Stage fright is very, very common, and it's not necessarily a wrong thing or a bad thing. It is something that you can overcome with time. I'm not saying that you can get rid of it completely, because before I perform, I get stage fright.
You still do?
I still do. And I know that if I don't feel that fright, my performance will not be good.
So is that a necessary evil? That's what you're saying?
You can turn it into helping you to concentrate.
Or it can get in the way.
Yeah. Well, if you let it get in the way, then yes, it can get in the way. You get on stage and you forget your lines, or if you're going to sing, you forget what you're going to sing about. Yes, it does happen. But there are numerous tricks. There's no one size fits all remedy to this. It's just you finding out what works for you. There are many artists who, as long as 30 minutes before they perform, they will be on their own. They will be in their dressing room. Nobody talks to them. When it's almost time for them to get on stage, somebody will come and knock the door, and they will go out and go straight on stage. Nobody talks to them 30 minutes before, because they're concentrating. There are others who are able to be chatting and just get on stage and perform. So it's you to decide what works for you. And if you're the sort of person who just keep thinking, what will the audience think? And you start concentrating on the audience, then you are doing the wrong thing. Just go out there and have fun. Forget the audience. You don't even have to look at them if you think that it's going to throw you off. Just go out there, concentrate, and have fun. If you have fun, it'll translate to your audience.
What does it take to prepare properly for a performance? I know you have to memorize your lines. I know you have to, well, I imagine that you have to understand the rest
Understanding
of the cast
is more important
and
than
the play
memorizing.
itself.
Understanding what you're saying is more important than memorizing. Because if you understand, then the rest will come natural. Because you can memorize something that you don't understand and you won't deliver it. You'll just be there reciting. So you need to understand what you're saying and be able to deliver it with truth to your audience. Truth is very important.
There are moments, though. Are there moments when, and this goes back to stage fright and the things that, could lead one to stage fright, that you forget your lines?
Oh, concentration, yes. If you're not concentrating, you will definitely get lost and forget your lines. Yes. And that has happened to me. Mm-hmm. Yes. If you let your mind go off and you're on automatic, then you will definitely get lost where you're supposed to be.
What about if you're in one of your fellow custom members forgets their lines? How do you help them out?
That's why you need to rehearse so well that you not only know your lines, you know your partner's lines as well. And if they get lost, you will know that they are lost. But you don't just keep quiet and decide, hey, it's not me speaking now. You've got to help them out. You guide them. Yes.
Because the failure is going to reflect on all of you.
On both of you, yes.
Right.
Yes. So if somebody gets lost, you find a way, you improvise, you ad-lib until they understand where you are, what part of the script you are, and they're back in. So you need to know your lines, your part really well, and also the part of the person you're playing against or with.
Right.
Yes.
You're listening to Spotlight. Our guest today is thespian, singer, and talent search Judge Ian Mbugua, or simply Judge Ian, as is popularly known. Do you have a lot of young Kenyans walking into the theatre scene, wanting to be thespians and genuinely so, and
very, very,
becoming
very
just that?
Very many.
Right.
But they think, they see the glamour, they see the final product, and they do not understand the amount of hard work that it takes for one to be good on stage, because they just see the polished performance and they think, I can do that as well. But there's a lot that goes into it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. Do you think we as a society, and I mean we, the Kenyan society, do you think we appreciate what people like yourself do enough?
Yes, there are those who appreciate it, but then there are those who appreciate but you do not want to pay. Because many people will start asking, once you tell them there's a production going on, they'll start asking you for free tickets. And the ticket can be as cheap as 500 bob. But somebody will not want to part with that. They'd rather go out and drink. Yes, so we need to put a value to the arts. We need to be ready to pay for the arts.
But culturally, do you think we are thus inclined as a society to patronize theatre, to come and watch a play?
Sadly no. You will find the bars are full and not, theatre-going culture is not there. It's not there.
Why is that, do you suppose?
No idea. If there was an answer to that, I'd be a very rich man. Yeah. It's just really out of habit. If you don't start going to theatre when you are in school, then the chances are that when you start working and you're earning enough money to go and watch a play, you won't find it something you want to do. You need to grow into the culture of going to the theatre.
Do you think, though, that theatre is a preserve of a certain section of society, by which I mean a certain economic section?
Absolutely not.
Of society.
Absolutely not.
One has to have a certain... I imagine that one has to have a certain sophistication to appreciate these things.
No.
to go watch a play, performing art. It's not. Ian, look.
Absolutely
Ian,
not.
This is different from watching a soap opera.
Yes, but anybody who would be entertained by a television program can also be equally entertained by watching a live performance. So there's no class. There's no class.
What about sophistication?
Not necessary. Not necessary.
Isn't there a difference between watching a soap opera and watching
Absolutely.
Shakespeare?
Yes,
there is, isn't it?
But you're talking about Shakespeare now. Shakespeare is not every theatre goer's cup of tea.
Right.
You will find audiences would prefer to go and watch comedies, farces, than to go and watch Shakespeare. Now, Shakespeare and the classics, those ones need a bit of sophistication, because one thing, you need to understand what the play is about. You need to have some sort of knowledge, because the English is not everyday English. So you go there and you hear them speaking in thou and thee and begets, and you have no clue what that is about, then sorry, you're going to find that really boring.
What do you suppose the role of theatre in society should be?
To educate and to entertain. Educate especially.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Critiquing?
To teach as well.
Uh-huh.
To teach, yes.
What about in a situation like ourselves, where there are so many issues, particularly of governance? Should theatre have any role?
A very big role. Because hearing somebody talking about it and then watching it happen in front of you, watching it happen is more powerful than somebody telling you what's going on. But when you see it in front of in front of you actually happening, then it has more meaning, and you realize, yes, we need to do something about it.
But do you think by doing so then would be sacrificing the entertainment aspect?
No. As long as it's done in an entertaining way, and that's the best way to do, because wit and comedy are very, very important. You don't put on something that will just that will not entertain at all. No, the entertainment value must be there.
But this is where I take you back, Ian, at the risk of belabeling the point, because then this is where sophistication and the ability to appreciate.
I don't see the sophistication coming in when you are putting on a comedy, something that will make people laugh and yet think. It doesn't have to be. There are some plays that require more. I do agree, but not all of them. You can't put them all. You can't just say that all the plays, you need some sort of sophistication. Absolutely not. Some, yes.
Let's talk about the productions themselves and the quality of productions themselves. And here, let me ask you about Kenyan script writers and original plays, works of art being put up for performance.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, let me ask you about that. How much of that do we have?
Sadly, we do not have enough good script writers. They are very, very few. Lack of training. And so we've got hundreds of scripts, literally hundreds of scripts. But are they good enough to be on a stage? No. A very, very small percentage are good enough.
Who's to judge? Judge Ian?
No, absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just me. This is my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But many scripts are not good enough for the stage.
So what is it that we see a lot of on our stage, or on our theatre stages? Is it foreign plays?
They are foreign plays.
They are foreign plays.
Yes, and they have been Kenyanized.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
To what extent does that help with regard to what we talked about earlier, the aspect of entertaining and educating, considering that they are foreign?
They are foreign, but they are talking about the same sort of problems that we are experiencing. Plays like Can't Pay, Won't Pay.
Right. Government Inspector.
All those are foreign plays. But what is the message there? It can be put up absolutely anywhere in the world and it will be relevant. And those are the sorts of classics that will never disappear.
Right. Earlier on, you talked about, when I asked you whether we have a lot of young Kenyans coming up to the theatre scene and wanting to be actors and actresses, you said that they see the end product, the glamour and things like that. What about theatre or performing arts as a livelihood in Kenya?
It has so much potential. So much potential. That the powers that be cannot see or refuse to see.
The powers that be being government, corporates, or who?
All of those.
Right.
All of those. Anybody who is able to fund. Because we've got very many young people who do have talent that with training, because training is very, very important. They've got the talent, the raw talent, but that's not enough. Training must be there for them to hone this talent. And once they are trained, they'll be able to put on productions, plays, good quality. And once the audience see that this is quality, they will be ready to pay for it.
Right.
Yes. And, there's so much talk about 40, 50, 60% content on our televisions. That's the way to go.
Right. And
that could feed so much.
And this is why we come to, digital migration that has caused quite a fuss not too long ago. And we heard that this is supposed to be a godsend for your kind, Kenyan actors.
In theory. Yes. But are the television stations ready to pay for this? Absolutely not. You, as a Kenyan, will make a movie. It'll cost you something like 1.5, 2 million. You need to recoup that money. So you go to a station, you tell them, I've got this. I'm asking for 2.5. They will not pay that. They would rather buy a Nigerian or an old Mexican soap, which they pay peanuts for, than pay for your locally manufactured production. They don't have the money. So in theory, it's good. But
they
practical,
don't have the money, or they will not.
Where will they? Even the ones who have the money,
right,
are not ready to do that. But most stations do not have that kind of money.
Let's talk about the ones who have money. What do you suppose the fear is? Is it that they understand the audience, and there's a fear that the audience may not appreciate what it is? You as a Kenyan,
they're not ready to take that risk. They're not ready to take that risk. They know that many people watch these soap operas, from the Mexican and South American soap operas. They're very mind-numbing, I must say. And the Nigerian ones.
Yes.
They are very, very popular.
Yes.
So here's you've been given money. You've been given money to buy movies. And here's a Kenyan one that costs 1 million. And these Nigerian ones, which are 10, 20 years old, you can get 20 of them. What will you do?
At a fraction of what you probably spend on a local production.
Exactly. You will buy those ones.
So what kind of effect has it had on local creatives? Have you given up?
No, you don't give up.
Right.
You don't give up, no.
So are we still banging on the doors?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So what's the outlook like from where you sit as we go forward?
Well, right now it's been very slow since this digital migration fiasco, because there are a number of new programs that were commissioned that were ready to go on air but have been put on hold because the stations don't know what's going on. Mm-hmm. So everything is like at a standstill. That's the sad thing.
Thespian, singer, and talent search judge, or simply Judge Ian as is popularly known. Next on Spotlight.
That is the secret to happiness. Not caring what people think about you. You want to do something, do it. What they think, shout yow. If that's what gets them to sleep at night, hey, that's good.
If you missed part or all of this program, you can also listen to a podcast of this and past programs on Twitter at KBC English. My name is Geoffrey Mungai. Goodbye. Mungai, goodbye. Mungai, goodbye. Mungai.